some students Viva is going to be held before that the written exam itself. Actually, that from the university there is a strange. I mean, the academic calendar is showing that the date for taking the exam it's little bit. I mean, difficult. I mean, that the way they have arranged. They say that the midterm examination is going to be held from March 18 to that March 23, including that the Viva, including that the Viva that we must have to finish that Viva by 23. First sem exam is by 23. But the problem here is that, I mean, we are having only the two classes in a week. So it's telling that first 2 days are going to be for the first term examination. That means they are telling that our 18 and 19, that Thursday and Friday we are going to have the first term examination. I'm sorry. Yeah, 17 and 18. 17 and 18 is going to be the first term examination, but it is actually difficult to have all the examination by these 2 days. So, so what we have decided to give that the written exam on that the 23 that is going to be keep as it is, that we are going to have the first term written exam on 23, but it can happen that we can have the, I mean, Viva earlier, like you have the class on 22, so the 22nd Viva can be taken, as well as maybe that on the day of I mean before that 1 day, maybe from 18 to 20, between these 3 days, 1 day can also be used for taking the Viva. That is not finalized actually. That, I mean, we are going to be really go for the Viva. There's a possibility that on 18th we are going to be have the Viva for 2 hours, something like that. So get ready. That is what my point is, because the varsity is telling that we should have to finish by that the first term examination by 23. We'll try, but if it is not possible, then we can take that we must have to finish by that during that week. That means within 25 we are going to be finished it, the Viva and all. So this is what actually I wanted to inform you. So if you have any comments, you can give. No comments on it?
Sir, it's okay
Sir,
for us.
written is 23rd February.
Yes, sir. From 23rd, I have one Viva and also written in your course that
I think that
the Viva before 23 it will be better, sir.
yeah, it is going to be better that if we are finishing that our Viva before the 23, we will try to do that. If it is not actually possible, then we are going to be make it maybe on 24 or 25, any one of the day. Or it can happen that after that written exam, I think 23 we are not going to be take any exam, Viva exam. Okay, other days we are going to be take.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, and 23 is, I mean, we have finalized it, I mean, long ago, right? Maybe the last week itself, we have decided that our first term examination is going to be on 23. So we are not going to be changed that date. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So I hope that there is no confusion with your syllabus as well. That we say that for both written and Viva, we are going to be have that lecture 1 and lecture 2 is going to be our syllabus for first term examination, right? Is there
Sir,
anything
lecture
that
2 also.
now
Lecture
you're
2
telling it?
also, sir.
Now you're telling it? The last class, the yesterday also we have discussed about it, is not it?
Sir, but I have no lab class, sir. That's why.
Oh, you do not have lab class. I have mentioned it. Are you regular in the class, Imran?
Yes, sir. Regular, sir.
I have mentioned it that you are doing the CS, if you are not doing the CSC-348, then also you should have to study the lecture number 2, because
Okay,
that is
sir.
the theory part. I mean, that is the theory part we have done into that our lab classes, because it was important to have that the discussions about the motherboard Without that, actually, it's difficult to discussing about the experiments. Okay. So everyone, you
Okay,
must
sir.
have to study. I mean, make sure that you're studying that lecture number 2, right?
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. I have
Yeah.
understood.
And so, do you have any confusions? I mean, with any topics into the lecture 1 and or lecture 2? Anybody?
Not yet, sir.
Okay, then
No,
I
sir.
think that then we can actually, if you have no problem with that, the lecture 1 and lecture 2, I mean, make sure that you're studying. It's because the exam is very nearby. And because, I mean, we have already discussed that, I mean, I have already discussed with you. I think that your section got that the directions earlier, even the last week itself, that okay, what are the things you need to study from the lecture 1 and lecture 2. So you get, I mean, a bit ago the information that what are the things you need to study for your first term examination. So I hope that, I mean, you are utilizing this information. So here one thing, I would like to tell you that now actually we are going to be start to discuss about the lecture 3. But remember that this lecture 3 is not going to be for your, I mean, first term examination. That we are going to be, that is going to be included into a midterm examination. Okay. So lecture 3 today we are going to be start. That is not the part of the first term examination. Okay, let me share the file with you first. Can you see that the slide lecture 3 central processing unit?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so you need to be get an idea that actually how that your course discussions for CSC 347 is progressing. So we have actually discussed about that introduction to the computer system, very basic things about the computer system, and we have seen that there are three main components of the computer system. That is the your the CPU, the processor, the central processing unit, and the second thing is that the memory. So we have said that there are two types of memory, basic memories. That is the main memory or primary memory and secondary memory. And as well as that, we have discussed about, we say that the input output devices, that is going to be the third one. So yes, I mean, we are actually approaching here with that the main components now, that the processor is going to be discussed, and then we are going to be discuss about the memory. And input output devices, actually that the input output devices are going to be the devices that is going to be used for giving the input to the computer system, and it is going to be produced the output. So we could actually do some studies for the input output devices, but as because this is the 2 credit hour course, that I mean, we are not going to be deal in the theory class about that the input output devices. Rather than we are going to be move after discussing the processor, we are going to be discuss about that storage, that means memory, and from there actually we are going to be discuss about the primary memory. So from the primary memory, we are going to be discuss RAM, and we are going to be discuss about the secondary memory. From the secondary memory, we are going to be discuss about the hard disk. So that is our plan, and after that, we are going to be discuss about that some problems, maintenance or troubleshooting issues that is actually come with that the computer maintenance, that computer hardware maintenance is our course. So the last part is going to be about the computer maintenance. So this is our plan. So this is the lecture number 3 that we are starting. This is that the central processing unit. Here we are going to be start the discussion here. Okay. So here the discussion of the central processing unit is starting with that. I mean the definition of central processing unit. Yeah. So why actually we call it that the central? We have already learned that the CPU is that the brain of the computer system. So we have already learned it, and we have said that, I mean, it does all the computational works for the computer system. But the name we are having, the CPU, the central processing unit. So what does actually they mean? That the name has been given for the processor, the central processing unit. There is the reason for each of the keyword that you can see, central processing unit. So you can see that the meaning of central processing unit, it is central, this one it is central because it is the center of PC data processing. So that means I have already discussed that our computer system actually does not have only one processing unit, right? There can be some specialized processor can be also there. So there is not a single processor into our computer system. It can be with that different external cards, or it can be with that some of the chipsets like that we have talked about the North Bridge, South Bridge, Express Bridge. So that those bridge are actually also kind of the processing unit. So that is what actually it is trying to tell here. Why it is called the central one? This processing unit, why it is central? Because it is that the boss. It is that the main processing unit for the computer system. It handles all that the computational work for the computer system. So that the central processing unit you are talking about, this is actually that the main processor or central place for controlling all the things happening into that the computer system. So that's why actually it calls the central. Okay, it is central because it is the center of PC data processing. So everything actually, the data processing, every data processing is happening into the computer system. Actually, he is the commander. The CPU is the commander, or CPU is that the taking accepting that the command, or it is processing that the command. It is do the computational work. It is do that the logical work. Okay, so that all the calculation is going to be done by him. So everything is going to be every command of the computer system will come from him. So that is why actually it is called as the central. So why it is called as the processing? It is a processor because it can work with the data, do calculation and move data. So that is why it is known as the processing, or it is called that the processor. So it is a processor. Why it is a processor? Because it can work with the data, do calculations, move data. So the processing unit we are talking about. So we can understand by seeing this that this is one of the part, the processing unit. So why we call it processing? So we call it processing because it can work with that every sort of instructions that we are creating into the computer system, and that the instructions can be the data, mathematical calculations, or that the moving data or signals from one component to the other component. That's why actually we call it processor. So that means it is not only one processor that the central processing unit you're talking about, because this that the instructions that you're talking about, the data calculations, moving data, that are going to be done with some other processing unit as well, like that the GPU you are having, the graphical processing unit. So it is actually dealing with that all sort of the data calculations and moving signals with that is actually related to the graphical works. Okay, so that means that is for the specific, the specialized processing unit can be used for specific purposes. So that is the specific one, right? But here, this central processing unit, this processing we are talking about, that actually handles all type of data, all type of calculations, all type of moving instructions from to all other components in the computer system. So it is a unit because it is a chip which contains the billions of transistors, right? So that is why it is called the unit. Why? Because it contains the billions of transistors. Yeah, right. And then day by day, actually, the transistors, day by day, that with the improvement of the processor, the millions we are talking about millions billions of transistors are there inside the processor. You have seen that the processor size, it's a like Britannia biscuit size, okay, a square shape, very small one, okay, but in this small microprocessor you are having the billions of transistors. It sounds ridiculous. Okay, that how it's possible that this is a small microprocessor chips, but inside of it you are having that the billions of transistors. But the technology actually coming to that point that in a small storage area that actually we can store a lot of instructions. So this is the what we are talking about, that the chip that it can actually handle the billions of transistors. So not it is not only about the transistors. There are so many other components are there inside the processor. So we are going to be look after them, that okay, what are the main units are there, even though you are not going to be able to go to the depth of that microprocessor. That is going to be the that are the the depth study you're going to be doing to that the microprocessor codes. But here we are going to be learning it out that okay, what are the main components are there inside of that the processor and how they works. So this is what I mean here we are talking about that. So we have learned here with that the 3 points, that why we call it central processing and unit. So remember that the processor we are talking about, that the brain of the computer system, the central processing unit. It is called central because it is that the boss. I mean, centrally, it is controlling the every instructions or data into that the computer system, and it is called that the processor or processing because it can work with that the different types of instructions, and you can move that it can move the instructions from one component to the other. And then it calls the unit because it can have the billions of transistors. So remember that. I mean, when that it's coming that defines CPU, then you can also actually add these three instructions because it is quite important informations that why it is called the central processing unit. So now the CPU allows the processing of numeric data, meaning information entered in binary form, and the execution of instructions stored in the memory. Yeah, so this is actually the other way that I mean we can explain that yes, CPU allows. So that means CPU is allows means that without the CPU's commands or without the CPU's participation, there is nothing is going to be done into that computer system. So that is what it's saying, that it allows the processing of numeric data, meaning information entered in binary form. So you already know that the information must need to be in binary form, and the execution of instructions stored in the memory. So that is we already known from that the instruction cycle of that computer system, that yes, the processor, the control unit is actually fetching or taking the instructions from the memory, and after taking it, it is translating the instructions and process it such a way so that execution unit can handle it, or execution unit can understand that what the unit is going to be do with that instruction. So the control unit actually decode the instructions for that the execution unit. So when the execution unit is receiving that the instructions, he is going to be execute the instructions with that the commands it gets with the instruction, and after doing the calculations, it is going to be sent back to that the memory what is going to be stored, right? That the result is going to be stored into that the RAM, okay, the memory. So here, yeah, this is a discussions we have already make in one of our class, that CPU is frequently compared to the human brain. Yeah. So which one is better, that human brain or that the CPU? Right. We have already actually discussed this point with some in a different way. Actually, we have discussed it, that which one, I mean, who is more powerful, or who is actually who is better, that the CPU or human? I mean, who can actually, in terms of works, okay, that in terms of works, which one is better, that the human or the CPU? So that we have understood that in terms of in terms of calculations, in terms of computations, in terms of, I mean, the multidisciplinary works, like I mean, like that the multitasking that we say, multi-programming we say, that we know that the CPU is going to be much better than the human, because the very complex calculations human may take, I mean, long time to calculate, but computer system, the CPU will be able to do it much more faster, within maybe few seconds. He's going to be give you some calculations that is not possible by a human to do. So this is what actually it's saying, that CPU is frequently compared to the human brain. So that is what actually the comparison comes, that okay, which one is actually better, which brain is better. So remember that we have already said that the computer system is a machine. Okay, so of course that the machine will be able to do it better than the human, because the human is giving the instructions or calculations or the equations or that the instructions that related instructions required instructions to that the CPU. So the CPU is actually working with those formulas, equations, instructions, so that he can actually calculate it within short time. So he's a machine; he'll be able to do it much better than the human brain, definitely. So the first microprocessor that it is talking about, the Intel 404, was invented in 1971. So that is actually, for us, it is very easy that when the first microprocessor was invented in 1971, because this is completely related with our country, birth of our country. So you can easily remember the first microprocessor was invented in 1971. It was a 4-bit calculation device with a speed of 108 kilohertz. So you can understand the speed we are talking about, that is about the kilohertz, right? And now we are having the speed with the gigahertz, right? So this is what that development has been done from the 97 to 1 to the 2021, right? So you can understand that it's 40 years, 40 years of time that mm, I'm sorry, that 51 years of time that actually we have fast invented the microprocessor. Now you can understand that with the 50 years of time, that how much improvement has been done with that the microprocessor. That these days we are having that the microprocessor that are with the gigahertz of speed, and they are actually the multi-core processor, right? This is we are talking about the 4-bit. Now we are now to that the 64-bit, right? Or this current times that the PC are having, that we are having the 64 bits. So on that time, only 4 bits calculation could be done, but now 64 bits calculation can be done. So that is the word size, right? 32-bit, 64-bit. So these days only we are talking about 32-bit and 64-bit. But in the recent time, that the operating system you are using, that like Windows operating system like Windows 10, you are using that. If you are using any Linux-based operating system like Ubuntu, like that, you are having the Fedora, you are having that the Red Hat. So the Linux distributions that you are using, all those Linux distributions, even that the Windows operating system, are now supporting only 64-bit. Okay, they are not allowing you to deal with the 32-bit anymore. So this is the improvement that we are talking about. That our processor is actually getting more power. It is getting more power and more power. That it is getting so much powerful that actually it is able to handle that big size of bits, big size of word. At the same time, it is capable to work with the many instructions. Okay, so this is what quite interesting. That the first microprocessor, we have only the 4-bit calculation device and speed with only 108 kilohertz. Okay. So in the early days of computing, a CPU would only have a single core, which was limited to just a single set of tasks. So this is what I have already said, that we have already discussed about when we were discussing about the processor, that our microprocessor, inside our microprocessor, before we had only one core, only one core, the processing unit, right? So we call that, and now we call it the dual core, quad core, octa core. That we are talking about the cores, right? On that time, only single core was there inside the microprocessor. So that is was we call it the uniprocessor. Okay, uniprocessor. That uni means here the single. Okay, uniprocessor. So that the uniprocessor we are talking about, that is with that the uniprocessor, even within the unit processor, the multiple tasks could be done at the same time. Okay, but how that could be done on that time? That time actually with that unit processor, multiple tasks can be done with that. Some scheduling algorithm like that. If you are having that the 20, if you are having that the 20 works at the same time, so with that scheduling algorithm, the works for the 20 task has been actually given schedule wise. Like maybe I'm going to be give the, if I'm working with the Microsoft Word, if I'm working with that game, if I'm playing a game, if I'm watching also a movie, if I'm also watching a live stream for a cricket match, so that I'm doing a lot of tasks at the same time. So that on that time, the unit processor for each of the program was running into the computer system, was given the equal type, that okay, that the game I'm playing, that is going to be run for 2 seconds. Then next, that movie I'm watching, that is going to be run for 2 seconds. Live streaming 2 seconds, and this way all of the programs, it could get the equal time. The if There are actually different algorithms are there. Maybe we are going to be studied when we are going to study the operating system or the other different courses. That the unit processor, that how actually it was dealing the multiple tasks at the same time. Okay, so at the same time, that's different programs in the computer system it's running. How with a single processor, how you are actually doing it. So that is actually with the scheduling algorithm, the operating system actually helps to run the multiple programs at the same time. So this is what it is talking about here actually. That earlier day we are having only the single core processor, but we are not there anymore. We are having the multi-core processor. So we have also discussed about it. We have said that inside a single microprocessor there can be the two core, or there can be the four core, or there can be the eight core, right? In the single microprocessor, inside of the microprocessor, there can be the more cores, dual core, quad core, even octa core can be there. So that is actually it is talking about that the multi-core processor is going to be much far better than the unit processor that we are actually having, because now we will be able to give the more tasks to that the cores. So that means we are having the four cores, so the works can be done parallelly with that the different cores we are having into the microprocessor. So that is what actually that the library examples I have given to you, that there is a single libraryman, you people 50 people are going there, so you are going to be get the service one by one, so you should need to be stand in the queue for a long time. But if there are four librarymen is there, then if that the 50 persons are going to be make that the four queue. So that means 12 12 12 13 something like that. Okay, so 14, right? 12 12 12 14. So there can be that the four queues. So that means you are going to get the much more quicker service than with the single libraryman. So that is what actually the multi-core concept is, that you are having that the multi-core the processing unit. That means your computer is going to be able to do the more works and give you the more quick access or quick response to you. And the dual core, so this is actually that the dual what we have taken, the multiple processing, increasing the performance and reducing the processing unit. So the dual core means here the two, right? The two cores you're having inside a single microprocessor. So this is what actually comes. The uniprocessor from the single core, we have moved to the dual core. Now we are having even the quad core and the octa core processors. So that is actually day by day the processors are getting the more powers as because it is getting the more cores, so it can actually handle the more instructions at the same time. Okay, then here we are having that the CPU is a microprocessor, that is an integrated circuit made up of millions of transistors. So we have already said that this is called the unit, because it can has that the millions or billions of transistors inside of it. So these are the transistors are needed to help the processing unit to work with instructions or signals. Okay, so there are billions of transistors are there, and day by day actually that it was millions. Day by day that the number of transistors are increasing. But with that technologies, that the nanotechnology we are having, right, the different technologies we are having, with that the technology actually is possible that you can actually make this microprocessor with that billions of transistors. So here all not all microprocessors are CPUs, so that is also a point also, right? Like that uh, we are having that the numeric processing unit, the NPUs. That is numeric means here the floating point processing unit. So this is actually an unit inside of the microprocessor. We do not call it the microprocessor. Okay, and we'll going to be discuss about it. The graphical processing unit GPUs that we have said into the this is a specialty processor. So this is not going to be called as the microprocessor. This is only going to be called the graphical processing unit. Why? Because this is only going to be work with the graphical instructions. This is going to be only going to be work with that the the numeric numbers, that the floating point units. So now this is the accelerated processing unit. So that is for accelerating that the speed of that the calculations. So that is the, these are the processing unit we are talking about. They actually used for some specific purposes, right? Not that, it is going to be all in all into the computer system. They are doing the work for a specific department, like that the university you are having, that the VC, the vice chancellor, is actually all in all for that the university. But you can see that there are different colleges are there, so the deans are there, and from that the college you're having the department, so their chairs are there, coordinators are there. So you can see that actually the works that is called the ornogram. I forgot that the word actually. um, that the how that the, powers are distributed to that the from top level to that the bottom level, so that the power has been distributed. So that the specific department or specific college have that the specific works, right? So that the engineering CET we are having, so CET, the dean is actually that all in all for the CET, but he has also a boss. Who is that? The vice chancellor. So the vice chancellor is there. That vice chancellor is actually the main CPU. He is actually that the central processing unit. You can think like that. But the dean is that the processing unit, because he is controlling the whole engineering college. So that is what actually that here we are talking about, that not all the microprocessors are going to be called that the CPUs, because the microprocessor is that the central one. Microprocessor is having that centrally controlling everything into the computer system, like vice chancellor that for university. So this is what actually it is talking about, that not all the microprocessors are going to be considered as the central processing unit. So this is what it's saying. The end result is faster. Thus, the end result is a faster CPU performance. Right, of course. That here what it does mean is that it is talking about the CPU's performance, right? So of course that the more cores you're going to be having, there are more dual core multi core processing you are having. They are coming with the multi-scalar. They are coming with the gigahertz of speeds. So definitely the more faster microprocessor you are going to be you are going to be have, that is going to be give you the more faster performance into your computer system. Okay, can you please unmute your microphone?
Sir.
Only one person. Salim is not here. Ashraful Islam Khan is not here. Jannatul Firdaus is not here. Jim is not here. Mrs. Hassan Jim. Siddhar Choiti is not here. SM Shaheen is not here. Okay, mute your microphone. Mute your microphone, please. Mute your microphone, all of you. Yeah, you can see that. This is actually, I was a bit angry into that the last week, but it does not. It's not going to be counted. That if something is instructor is telling to his students, look at the when we have taken the attendance, there was that the 6 students. That means about 34 students are there. Okay, now it is 27. So I've seen that. They have given the attendance, and within 10 minutes they lost. Okay, so I do not know that how they are going to be considered as the university student if they are not. Following the lectures, if they are not doing the class properly, then how they are going to be considered as the student of the university? So they're behaving like that. The kids, okay, like schoolboys. The schoolboys are much better than those students that actually were coming to the class for giving the attendance. So they are actually candy boy. Okay, definitely they are going to be considered as the candy boy, because they are coming for the attendance, not for the lessons, not for the course that actually they have registered for. They are not giving that the money for the attendance. They are giving that the money for following the instructions, for following, for learning, for knowing the informations, for learning the informations. So they don't care that, but they are thinking that I have to get my attendance. Attendance is much more important than having that what are the contents you are having into a lecture, what are the topics you are discussing into the lecture. So that is not important for them. The important is for them is the attendance. Okay, fine. If you think that attendance is important, then you should have to do this the way that the other five students have done. But if you're coming to the class only for giving the attendance, only for showing the others that you, yes, look that I was in the class for the whole time. I'm not. I mean, if you're not listening that the instruction, I mean lecture, if you're not following with the slides, if you're not taking the notes that what you are studying in the class, if you're not having the further studies, then I mean, even though you're giving the attendance, you're leaving, and you're staying, giving the attendance, and you're staying here without following the lecture, then it is not going to be useful anymore. That I mean, that you understand more than me. This is I'm quite sure that you understand more than me. That I mean, if you're not listening, if you're not following the lectures, if you're not studying, then the end result, what will come? The end result is going to be you're going to be a very frustrated and disappointed person in your life, right? I mean, you are going to blame yourself that why I have not studied, why I have not. I had that opportunities. I have gone through so many courses. So why I did not study? Why I did not try to learn something from that the lectures that the instructors have given? So I mean, you know better than that. I mean, what I'm saying, you know better than me that actually what is the I mean what is the danger level that actually that the students, some of the students that you are I mean behaving or your attitude, and I mean this you are going to be definitely at the end of the graduation you are going to be definitely talk with you. Okay, it is going to be definitely come that I mean you are going to blame yourself that why I have done so, why I have not studied properly, why I have not listened to my instructors. Okay, so you know that I'm quite sure that not all the instructors are same. Some of the instructors they are not going to be talk about this issue any. I mean, they are not going to be even tell you that why you are not coming to the class. They don't care. I mean, that should be actually done with all the students, all the teachers, because actually it is not that the teacher's job to make sure that students are coming to the class, students are listening to the lectures, students are studying every day. It is not the job of the teacher, because you are not the school boys and girls. If it is the school, only the class 1 to 5, primary school, on that time it may happen that you should have to reach to every student. You should have to, I mean, explain them everything such a way so that they are understanding. I mean, they are studying, they are understanding. You should have to take care of them that way. But in the university level, that I mean, like me, that I mean, some of the teachers are actually pushing you that okay, you have to study, you have to learn, you have to follow the lectures, you have to make that the discussions. I mean, you should need to be clear, make clear everything that you are getting in that the class. Some of the teachers we are doing it. Actually, we are very bad persons. Yes, because you should not do this. It is up to you. You're the university student, so you understand everything. It's not like that you are not you are immature. You are quite mature. So I do not know. Sometimes I really, I mean, get angry because when I'm seeing that, I mean, the students are coming here and giving the attendance and they're leaving, and also that some of the students, like 4 or 5 students, they're common. That every day when I'm telling that okay, unmute your microphone, I'm saying that those students are common. Every day they are doing this. They are coming to the class, giving the attendance, mute their microphone, and they are watching movie maybe, or maybe they are going for some other works. They are not actually listening or following that the lectures. Even that is also quite interesting that when the class finish, when we say goodbye, and I'm saying that all the students are actually leaving from the class link, but those students who are actually not unmuting, right? When I'm asking that to mute your microphone, well, they are not they are actually with that not unmuting. They are muting that mute same. They are going to be seen into that at the end of the class. At the end of the class, I'm saying that they are there. They even do not know that the class has finished or class is progressing or they should have to take the leave from there on. They don't care. So this is quite interesting. I mean, I found, and yes, I mean, this is how that actually you are telling to me. Many ways you are actually informing me that who are coming to the class regularly, who are following the lectures, and who are actually studying, or who are, I mean, interested to do the studies, because I mean, it's not the free study, it's not that the free workshop you are getting, right? You have spent the money, and for each and every course, you are giving that the money. So that the money is coming from most of the cases, the money is coming from your father's pocket or your family pocket. So that is, I mean, you should need to be actually utilize that the money. So why you are here? That if you're not listening the lectures, if you're not studying, if you're not interested about to learn something, then why you are here? Why you, that the money you are investing? Tell your father, tell your family that actually you can invest this money in your business, in your family business. So unnecessarily, I mean, why you are wasting the money of your parents or your family? Yeah, most of the families of our university students are actually maybe that the middle class, even that the low financially low, right? I mean, financially middle class or financially low class family students are coming to the university. Most of the students. So, I mean, you should need to be, I mean, rethink. I mean, that what you are doing, because that the time you are having is that the most important time in your life. Uh, look that I mean that you are maybe, as I said, that the most of the students of this course are going to be the fifth or sixth semester. Most of the students are from the fifth or sixth semester. That means you are about to finish your second year of that varsity life. Almost, maybe you have finished, or maybe you're going to be finished. So that means you're moving to that your third year. So that the third year and the fourth year, these are the 2 years are the most important years, most important years of your life. That the third year and fourth year of the university life, the going to be, it is going to be make it is going to be place you in a stage. It is going to be place you in a stage that what you are going to be doing your for your entire life. So these 2 years, the students are, I mean, serious. The students are sincerely listening the lectures, trying, doing the hard works with the studies, doing the hard works with some specialized courses. I mean, having some aims that okay, after doing the graduations, what they're going to be do, and taking the preparation according to that. Then those students are going to be get success, or they're going to be successful after finishing the graduation. They'll be, maybe it can be the job, it can be the higher studies, it can be that the own business. I mean, anything. I mean, you are going to be looking for. These the 2 years are going to be tell you that actually what you are going to be do in your future. So if you're not getting serious from now on, if you're not, I mean, if you're wasting your time for the third year and fourth year of the CSC graduation, then definitely you are going to be a very frustrated person. Just write this word, a sentence that what I said. If you're not utilizing that the third year and fourth year of your undergraduation, if you're not studying there, if you're not doing the hard works, then after finishing your graduation, you are going to be one of the most frustrated students, frustrated person, and you are going to be blame yourself that okay, I had got the opportunities. Many of the students after having that the HSC examination, they are unable to continue their studies in the university. Many of the brilliant students because of the money, but you are getting this opportunity. Your parents, your family members, your I mean, they're supporting you to do that the graduation. And after finishing the graduation, then you'll blame yourself that okay, I had got the opportunity to develop myself, but I did not utilize it. So I am not capable to now get a job. Also, I am not capable to get do that the higher studies, and I am not capable to do anything. So please try to understand that do not give you the chance to make you, I mean, a frustrated person in the future, right? So these are the about only the 2 years of time from now on that you should have to be study as much as possible. Okay, if you're utilizing these times for the 2 years, if you are, I mean, targeting for the getting that the hard works of for your studying, for your aim, that for your goals, that you should have to work properly. If you're working properly for these 2 years of time, with that the hard dedication, with that the efforts, that every time I say that it's all about the efforts these days. Whatever you want to study, whatever you want to learn, everything is there. Everything you're getting. Okay, so I mean, just you should have to be spend the time with them. You should need to be follow the instructions of your instructors. You should need to be work hard for your goal of life, aim of life. Then only that you will be able to success. You will to get the success. Otherwise, no. It's not only about that. I mean, a class. Maybe that you may think that why sir is actually shouting. Why sir is shouting that? I mean, we are the university students. If I am coming to the class, it's my freedom. If I feel to do the class, I'm going to do it. If I not feel to do the class, I'm not. If you're thinking this way, then yes, I mean, you're right. You're right, you have the freedom. But I'm thinking about your future. The instructors are going to be, the instructors are shouting on you. They're thinking about your future. Not a single teacher will, I mean, what? That not a single teacher will expect that a student in future is going to be frustrated. Every teacher want to see that their students are getting success. Okay, I do not know. I do not know. I think that the IOBT instructors are like that. Most of that the CSC department student teachers I know that not a single teacher want to see his or her student as a frustrated person after finishing the graduation. That's why the teachers are always with you in IOBT. Whenever you are knocking their door, they are actually there for helping you. Why? The only reason is that we want to see that you are studying, you are doing the hard works, and you are getting success, and you are happy when you are graduate. That sir, I have already got the job, or sir, I'm planning to go to the abroad for doing my masters. So this is what I mean. That is why actually that every time I'm shout, I just don't shout. It's not necessary because you are matured enough. You're matured enough that you know that actually what you should have to do, how you should have to do. But if you're not doing them, if you're wasting your time, then that the frustration will come. And when that the frustration will come, on that time you are going to be told that your teachers did not say to you, your teachers did not guide you properly, your teachers did not try to teach you something. On that time you are going to be also blame your teachers. So that is not going to be correct. That is not going to be correct because here every courses you are doing here there are 45 students are there. And yes, out of the 45 students, all the 45 students are actually capable. Okay, you did not come to the university directly. You have finished your school. You have finished your